Okay, we're live.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the meeting of the Facilities and Recreation meeting today, Tuesday, the 12th of January. The council would like to advise that the meeting will be live streamed to YouTube and will subsequently appear on the council website. Could I please ask that all mobile devices are switched off or to silent during this meeting? Thank you. Apologies.
Councillor Miss Abley, Councillor Harmer, Councillor Malloy, Councillor McAloon, Councillor Grayson, Councillor Mrs Machin and Councillor Geldard.
Thank you. Anybody else want to report any declarations of interest?
None received.
Members' dispensation?
None given.
Public questions?
None for this evening.
Right, we'll move on to planning. Does anyone wish to make any comment on the planning application?
Chair, I've put a request to speak in, if that's okay.
Yeah, I haven't got that up yet. You're right. Please go ahead, councillor.
Thank you, Chair. We had the long discussion with the police before Christmas and discussed the social issues of this one, and that's the challenge really, because on planning grounds, I can't see any planning grounds for turning this one down. The only possible area we could explore is the traffic situation, whether the proposed emergency link off the A167 to provide services for example, the fire service or an emergency transport in, I think will be hard to deny, as it's only used for emergency purposes. The fact that the traffic is routed through the industrial estate and not either of the housing areas, for example, in Durham-Gate, where both myself and Barbara Graham ensured that there was a separation between retail traffic, industrial traffic, and the traffic of the people who are residents. Similar with Meadow Green and York Hill Road, where we ensured that there was no right turn in or left turn out to affect the traffic on York Hill Road towards the housing area, and all traffic would actually be required to come in off the A167. I honestly can't see a planning ground for objecting. We raised the social grounds. We hope people will take that on board. But unless somebody else has got a point, I genuinely can't see a planning objection.
I've got no one down to speak. Do we want to move that the council?
Councillor Thompson, you've got Councillor Richards wants to speak.
Well, it's not showing up on me.
Yeah, we can see it.
On?
Said I can see it on mine.
Can't see it on mine. Okay, Councillor Richards, do you want to go ahead, please?
Thank you, Chair. Mine is just an extension of what Councillor Foster has said regarding access, and is there any way to push that access that's in that the emergency egresses onto the A167? But given the bad weather conditions we had late on last week, York Hill Road became incredibly dangerous and was actually stacked with wagons from the roundabout back, like from the exit, the entrance rather, onto that industrial estate back to the roundabout, which could cause further dangers given the inclement weather conditions that we're likely to see around here, an influx of traffic. So that was just my concern with that.
Thank you, Councillor. I've got either Councillor Madison or Mr. or Mrs. Madison to speak. I'm getting things shown on my chat function now. Is that you, Liz or Clive?
It's Liz Madison, Chair. As you may recall from the meeting that I chaired when the police made their presentation, I did make reference to the fact that York Hill Road could be used as an easy route to this new custody suite and sought the assurances from the police that York Hill Road would not be used. I think if we are going back to the planning people on that it should be specified in what we say that we would not wish to have any traffic using the York Hill Road where there are residents, particularly if there are occasions where you've got blue lights going or sirens, or even where you have a road being stopped to allow traffic quick access to the custody suite. And all of these things were discussed at the meeting. We did get an assurance that it would be infrequent, but I think that it would be good to put it in that is a request on behalf of residents of York Hill that we would like no traffic on that road, that it would affect residents. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Morrison. I would just like to say one or two things which I believe is echoing what Councillor Foster said at the previous meeting. I think it was the AP meeting. I'm disappointed that we taken up land that could have been set aside for job creation. The 3,000 jobs that were promised on Durham Gate, office jobs, now look like falling by the wayside as there's a planning application for housing on there now. So that would have left Durham Gate as our only place for, well, not the only place, but the most likely place for new job creations, which isn't going to transpire from this development. But as Councillor Foster indicates, I don't think we've got any actual planning grounds to say we don't want it. I would think people have the thoughts, but we still have to have the proper reasons why we wouldn't want it. The town council can write a letter in expressing the concerns that we have, but not actually saying we for it or against it, but just that we have concerns and will the committee take them into account. Right, Councillor Mitchell, I believe you want a word.
I think Councillor Ranyard's just before me, Kevin, if that's okay.
Yeah, okay then. Can you come in, Councillor Ranyard?
Yeah, thank you, Chair. I think you make an excellent point there about job creation on that area. You know, we want jobs on that area, and this, as was said at that meeting, won't actually create any additional jobs. I also take Councillor Foster's point on board that it's difficult to pinpoint any particular planning grounds on which we can voice a strong objection. My real concern with what's being presented is that the expected decision level is said on the report that it's a delegated decision. Now, I would have thought, as this affects everybody in the county really, because it's going to be a separate custody suite for the whole county, that this should perhaps go to at least a planning committee for a panel of county councillors to look at this in further detail. Are we able as a council to put forward that request that this not be a delegated decision, but that this does go to a planning committee?
Yes, if you would like to move that, Councillor Ranyard, it is one of the responsibilities we've got as a consultee, that we can ask. We have to give a reason though why it's got to go to full committee. I would think highway grounds, what Councillor Foster was suggesting, may be enough, but he's got more knowledge of that area down there. But I would think that if you move that, I would think someone would second it, and we could at least ask it to go to full committee in case some of the town councillors or the public want to turn up and say something.
Thank you, Chair. Yeah, I would like to therefore propose that we as a town council request that this planning application go to full planning committee and to cite highway issues as our concern for that.
Would anyone like to second that?
I'm happy to second that, Kevin.
Thank you, Councillor Machin. Can I bring you in now, please?
Yeah, just at the long presentation that we had from the police, and then again tonight, I think Councillor Foster and Councillor Madison have made sort of the point again about the concerns that were raised about people who were detained by the police were then released at all hours of the day and night. Would it be possible to request that some facility is provided at this in this proposed building where anyone who's released would be undercover at least, and ideally in a room where they could wait for a taxi or whatever, someone to pick them up, so that they don't feel inclined to try and walk down into Spennymoor to try and get a taxi in the middle of the night through either through Durhamgate Housing Estate or down York Hill Road. Because if you're just turfed out, they open the door and throw you out, then the inclination to walk, I would have thought, would be tremendous, as opposed to sitting somewhere warm and dry while you wait for a taxi to come for you.
It's a good point. I would think if now that we asked them for it to go to full committee, when we send the letter in, we can list our concerns and suggestions, and I think if the town clerk makes note of that, we can come up with something to draft that to the planning committee. Are you finished now, Councillor Machin? Can I bring in Councillor there?
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Councillor Foster, you wanted another word?
I am, and I apologise for asking for a second bite of the cherry, and I appreciate it. I'm following the motion that was being put. The difficulty with us moving a motion is we would have to go and defend it. We would have to either send one of the councillors, I've done that myself personally, or one of the officers to go along and defend this. Now, we do have 2 local county councillors who technically should be here as well, and they have the perfect right to, as the local members, put this on the agenda. That's the way, when I had the responsibility for the cabinet, I set that up so local members can call it in. Yes, local authorities can, but if we're going to call it in, then we've got to defend it. As I said before, the difficulty with the traffic one is Councillor Madison raised a point about York Hill Road, but both myself and Councillor Barbara Graham, Alderman Graham, we put a weight restriction on there. We put a speed restriction on there. We put a restriction on there which prevents anybody turning in from York Hill Road right into the industrial estate or left out of the industrial estate. All traffic has got to go up to the roundabout, round the roundabout, and down into the industrial estate. So it's only on the rarest of occasions, for example, if you were actually arresting somebody in Meadow Green or York Hill Road itself, would it be worthwhile actually transporting anybody up that road? The rest of the time, you're going to want to take them round onto the old A167. Yes, we're perfectly entitled to do it. Is it a good use of our time? Is it the best way to do it? To actually formally request to put it on the agenda, at which point we would have to go and defend what we're actually saying. As far as Councillor Machin's concerned, that isn't a planning ground. We raised those items up. I raised some of those items that Councillor Machin said at the meeting with the police on the social side, and they put their arguments for it. We're specifically talking tonight about the planning arrangements, and that's in theory all we can discuss tonight. So, to be perfectly honest, I'm not so sure that it's in our interest to do this.
Just before I bring Councillor Wood in, I mean, yes, if we ask for it to go to full planning committee, we would expect that someone would represent the council with our concerns. So if we've got no one who's going to represent the council at the planning committee, then you're right, we should just let it go and leave it to the 2 county councillors who have the automatic right to call it in. Do we want to go that way? I think it probably is the best way. Is anyone interested in going to a planning committee to speak on behalf of the town council? Then I think Councillor Foster's right. We can't really call it in if we're not going to go there to represent ourselves. We can only hope that the 2 county councillors for that area who are not with us tonight have got it in hand and may well call it in anyway. Can I bring Councillor Elizabeth Wood in?
My point's irrelevant now if it's not going to be going to full planning. Thank you.
So we've got agreement now of the chamber that we just let it go and possibly just write in with some of our concerns to be considered by the planning officer.
Councillor Thompson, can I come in, please? I think as well as writing to the planning officer, we could still write to the police, crime and victims commissioner and again outline the concerns that councillors have raised in writing. So we could send 2 letters.
Well, that would be great. So we'll leave it at that for the town clerk to take up and represent the town hall in that manner. Are we okay with that? Councillor Enyard, do you want another word?
Thank you, Chair. Yeah, I mean,
Now we'll call it to a close.
I think it's a very big issue. That's this planning application. I think it could you know, it obviously has caused a lot of concern for a lot of people around the county, and you know, I thank the police for that. They came and consulted with us. I personally would like it to go to a planning committee, but I take the points that have been raised on board, that it's difficult for us to attend that committee without real strong appropriate planning concerns. So I take on board the comments yourself and Councillor Foster have made, and I'll go with the benefit of your experience on that one. And I sincerely hope that the county councillors for the division are looking at it very closely and are carefully considering whether they should be calling that in so that it can be properly considered by a panel of councillors rather than an officer of the county council. Thank you. Thank you,
Councillor Enyard. Right, I will just leave it at what was suggested, that the town clerk will write to those 2 letters. And are you happy to leave it at that, town clerk?
Yes, but there's also nothing stopping every individual councillor from also writing to the police, crime and victim commissioner to outline their views. And I think there's always strength in numbers.
Yep, thank you for that. We've always got that. Okay then, we'll move on and leave that, and we'll come to item 6. Police and Crime Commissioners Precept Consultation. Now, when the documentation went out, I believe there was supposed to have been a link with it, which we didn't get, which we've received this afternoon. So rather than go right through all the options here and vote on every option to give a town council view, I think members would probably agree that we just take up that link and we on an individual basis make our comments felt and fill in that form. Would everyone agree with that?
Yes.
Yes, I would.
Okay then, so all we'll do now is just leave that to individual councillors to use the link that the town clerk is provided with us this afternoon, just to fill in and complete the issue. I've got no one requesting to speak on this item. Does anyone want to speak on it?
Hi, Councillor Thompson, it's Catherine. I have put an RTS in. It's just to say what I'll do in the morning is I'll send another email out that's much shorter than the one I sent out this afternoon, just with the link, so it makes it easier for people to use the correct link.
Great, that's fine. Thank you, Town Clerk. I definitely have no one on the list here now to speak. So at that, if everyone's happy, I'll just call the meeting to a close.